My weekend's not complete without a Michigan State victory. Way to go there, Spartan Marching Band. Greg Johnson of the Grand Rapids Press on the other end of our line. Greg, thanks for getting up. And tell you what, I was fairly unimpressed with Michigan State for the first 22, 23 minutes last week against Western Michigan, but they certainly turned things around nicely, especially the running game. And I was surprised to learn this, but they had, for the first time in school history, a freshman in his debut gain 100 yards.
Yes. Oh, he played great. He really he responded. He was looking that way all the way through training camp, so nobody was really surprised on the team. I think everybody else was surprised, but they knew what they had, and I guess they couldn't wait to show them off.
And it was that 75-yard run late in the second quarter that really turned the football game around. Michigan State was leading at the time 14-7, but had been outgained and out-first down by Western Michigan, which I think had left quite a few people in a slight state of shock.
Yeah, I think there was probably a little discomfort, but it was early. Those games play out. Those the other teams on scholarships too. It's not like they're, I don't think Western was that bad a team, and their quarterback was exceptional. So, it just worked out that way, and then that run did make a difference. It showed, hey, we have something special here, and they scored right away, and then when they went to the 2-minute drill and scored just before halftime, then it was pretty much over.
That's one of the great stories, I think, in college football anywhere this year. The quarterback situation at Michigan State. Kirk Cousins is now the undisputed number one, and Keith Nickel, instead of hanging his head, instead of transferring to another school or what have you, just simply went out and learned how to play another position. This is amazing for a guy who a couple of years ago was challenging Bradford for the number one quarterback job at Oklahoma.
Yeah, I think it just points to a kid that he really grew up always wanting to play at Michigan State, and then the John L. Smith, firing got involved, and Bob Stoops wooed him to Oklahoma. So, he's really a talented athlete. He's really a good kid, and he just always wanted to be a Spartan. He grew up wanting to be there, and so now he's getting on the field any way he can, and he just happens to be there at the same time as another good quarterback, and that fits their offense probably a little bit better. So he's willing to get on the field any way he can.
Well, they talk about these early season non-conference games, and unless it's a case of Penn State playing Alabama, which we'll see on are they playing Saturday night or Monday night? I guess it's Saturday night. But unless it's a matchup like that, or a Miami versus Ohio State, that'd be another great early season matchup. But when you have games like Michigan State, Western Michigan, or you have games like Michigan State and Florida Atlantic, they're essentially preseason games at the college football level.
Sort of, yeah, except they
count.
They count on your record, and they count towards being bowl eligible.
Right.
So it makes them a little more serious. In the NFL, they don't count at all. So it's essentially that, but it's, you have to go win them, and the other team's going to play hard, and the referees are going to call everything, and it's so it's real.
The game at Ford Field tomorrow, noon kickoff, is a road game for Michigan State, which strikes many people as odd, since it's of course right here in Michigan.
Yeah, it's just a strange set of circumstances because FAU's stadium just wasn't done, so they couldn't get it finished. They ran short of funds and short of time, so they've pushed the construction back for a year. So they needed to go play someplace. I know they looked at playing in Miami, but the last time they played at Miami in the Dolphins Stadium down there, they only drew 18,000 people. So they thought, well, hey, maybe we can go closer to Michigan and draw more people than that. We can take advantage of the fact that Spartans draw well. So they checked out Chicago. They thought about Soldier Field because of the huge alumni group in Chicago that's from Michigan State. And then they checked out Ford Field, and Ford Field seemed like their best option.
How's that working out? I was at the Tigers-White Sox game yesterday, and a truck carrying a large advertisement was circling the stadium announcing that tickets for the Michigan State-Florida Atlantic game were available for as little as $19.50.
Yeah, when they first came out, I think the $79 price on the high-price ticket kind of scared some people, but I know they've only sold somewhere in the neighborhood of 25,000 tickets.
Really?
60,000 some seats in there. So,
sure.
So it'll only be half full. I'm not expecting a huge crowd. I expect it to be mostly MSU fans. But I know they've covered costs. I talked to the athletic director actually last night on the phone, and they've covered costs, so it's not a big panic. But they are trying to do a last-minute marketing push and make some more money on the deal. Because any of the extra money isn't going to go towards their stadium. You know, they're still trying to finish their stadium down there.
And the good news here for fans is you get a chance to see Michigan State play football at a cut-rate price. This doesn't come around every day.
Yeah, it doesn't really, but I think it's, you know, they have a bunch of home games already this year, and they're all loaded at the start of the season. And, you know, it's one extra nice weather weekend that people aren't necessarily willing to commit. You know, it just wasn't in their plans. This kind of snuck up on them, I think, and the people that buy the season ticket package are thinking, man, I've already invested a certain amount of money. You know, they're playing Florida Atlantic. People just aren't excited by that. If they were playing another school, you know, with
they'll be excited next week when.
Then who knows?
They'll be excited next week when it's Notre Dame calling. Greg, tell all my friends back in Grand Rapids I say hi, and we'll look forward to talking to you again. Thanks for joining us this morning.
No problem, Rich. Thanks.
All right, Greg Johnson from the Grand Rapids Press on the quote-unquote big game tomorrow, Michigan State and Florida Atlantic. You know what better not happen? Michigan State better not lose that football game. I'll tell you that right now. All right, back with more. Rich Kincaid in for Michael Patrick on this Football Friday.